Hi everyone, welcome back. So for script number 16, we're going to work on a script that will allow a particular port to a firewall. So just to explain how the script will work, so the first thing we'll do is we will check if what utility is being used in the current system. For Debian, maybe UFW is being used for RHEL, Fedora, for Rocky, Firewall-D or Firewall-CMD is being used. For legacy, like minimal systems, IP tables, if they're being used, IP tables for firewall rules, we will use that. So we will use a case statement to determine which tool the system is currently using or installed in the current system, and then we'll allow the port using that tool. So let's get started. So we're going to go set E. So in case of error, the script exits, and then we will declare port. I'm going to put 22 for now. So the first parameter, or if nothing has been passed into the script, then we'll just use default 22 port. So then what we'll do is we will detect. We're actually going to use if statement. So if let's say command let's say UFW, then we will drag the output to dev now. Just so we are setting a variable here. So then we'll complete the other sections like this. So I'll just speed this up for now. Okay, so just go over this script. So we're just checking if UFW command exists, then we're setting the firewall value to UFW. If firewall CMD exists, then the firewall command will use firewall D, and then if IP tables exist, we're setting that value here. And then if none of these are being used, then we're just going to put in like an echo statement saying that no subordinate firewall found. So for the next section, we're just going to use a case statement. So based on the variable that we set here, variable value, we are going to go through each of the options here. Like UFW, then it'll run the UFW specific command. Like first we'll put out an echo statement here to kind of notify what has been detected, right? Secondary commands, and then we're going to close the first one, and then so on and so forth. So I'm just going to speed this up, and then I'll explain how the script will work. Okay, so what we're doing here is we're using the variable firewall. So firewall value, we're checking if the value is UFW, then we run UFW specific commands like UFW allow and then the port number, and then we reload the UFW. If it's a Ubuntu system, that's what it's using. And then if it's firewall D, we're echoing out detected firewall D, and then we're using firewall-cmd. We're adding a permanent tag to make sure that it persists, and then we're just adding the port number, which will be 22, and then the protocol, which is TCP, and then we're reloading the firewall D after that. And then for IP tables, we're just putting input, an entry in the input chain, and then protocol TCP, destination port, and then port number, which is 22, and then J, the directive would be to accept the connection in that port, any connection in that port. And then what we're doing is we're saving that this particular rule into the rules.v4 directive here in the system. So it does the same thing as like something like this. So it's just permanently storing the value, so the system doesn't forget it when you reboot the system. So that's pretty much it. And then I'm just going to put in an echo statement here. Let's say port successfully allowed through, and then also I'm just going to put in the firewall variable here, and that's pretty much it. So then now we're going to just run this. Let's see if there are any errors. As you can see, rules updated, successfully allowed through UFW. We're using Ubuntu, so it's using UFW. So let's get started on the Python one. So we're going to import some modules here. So it'll be subprocess, and then shutil, and then sys. And then we're going to add a value for port. So if for argument provided, we use that. If not, then we're using port 22. And then we will check. Actually, this is not the one here. It's going to be here, the comment section here. And then we're going to use the if statement just like the bash script. Going to use shutil, which, and then we'll try to find the value UFW. So which is basically doing, let's say, which UFW is storing that value here. So as you can see, this exists, so we're getting that. But if we do something like which firewall CMD, we won't find it here because it's a Ubuntu based system, not a Red Hat based system. So I'm just going to speed this up. So I'm just going to let's complete the first lines here. We're just setting the value here to UFW. That's pretty much it. Okay, so I'm just going to speed this up now. Okay, so yeah, so we're setting the variables here, and then we're just exiting out if nothing found, and then we're just going to print that detected firewall, because so once this passes and variable is populated, it will either say that it will store the variable, it'll store the values in the variable. If nothing is found, it'll just exit. So, and then if this has been set, then we will just print out that detected firewall and the type of firewall. And for the rest, we're just going to use a try statement. It'll be like if firewall equals to UFW, let's say, then we will, what we'll do, so we will use subprocess dot run, and then we will pass in the command here. So I'm just going to, there will be two sets of these, because one is to do these and the other set is to, let's say, do this, right? So okay, so I'm just going to speed this up, and then I will populate the variables and I'll explain the script. Okay, so what we're doing right now here is we're just evaluating the variable here. If it is, let's say, particular type, we're performing some actions here. We are breaking it into basically the same commands that we had for Bash. We are writing the same commands, but we're breaking into parts for the Python module to run them. So is the same. Like if you kind of compare both, like I literally copy and paste it from the left to the right. So I'm just breaking it down, in a comma separated value, so I can feed it to the sub process dot run. So and then after we do this, we're just printing out a confirmation that port was successfully allowed through, and then we're also going to cache an exception here in case it fails, if there are any errors. So it'll be sub process and then called process error. We'll catch that, and we're going to print out that error. Failed to allow port. With Firewall. Check permission. So let's run this. So I'm going to save this. We don't need confirm here. We're actually confirming here. So I'll just move the comment here, and then we're just going to save and run this command. As you can see, it's successfully allowed through UFW. So Python script also works. Again, thanks for joining. Have a nice day.